Hey everyone, this is Devin Moreno and welcome to the Baltimore Investors channel. And today I wanted to go ahead and talk with you all about my renovation project, and most specifically, how much did it cost for me to renovate a property? You see, a lot of new investors come into this and they really have no idea how much things should cost. How much should the plumbing and the HVAC and all of those different items in Baltimore City cost you as you're going about your renovation? So you hear different prices, you get multiple bids, and they're all over the place and you really don't know, well, what should I be paying? What would be a good price? Because many of us just want to pay a fair price, and we don't mind paying a little bit more for a little bit more quality if the price is still reasonable. So while we might not necessarily get those prices that veterans get in this industry whom have their own crews or have relationships that they've built up for like 20 years, we still don't also want to pay the prices that homeowners pay, where the costs vary wildly depending on how much it is they know and how much the contractor wants to mess with them. So here in this video, I'm going to talk to you about what I paid on this townhouse, and this should give you a good idea of how much you should be paying, because I think a lot of the prices we got here were pretty fair and reasonable. And the best part is I renovated this with one of my partners, Austin Carroll, whom has 60 properties in this entire area and has been renovating for quite a while. With that in mind, let me go into a few things you need to know about this property before you can really make your own analysis. So number one, it is a 3-bed, 1-bath townhouse in Baltimore City. So remember that costs will vary depending on your area. This is a row home, one of those brick structures that you see all throughout Baltimore. And the next thing, it is 1,080 square feet. So not necessarily the largest type of building, but certainly just something of your more average size in Baltimore and probably around what you're going to be renovating in your area. Next, the property did have lead in it. We want to remove all the lead, so this will include some costs of removing such a product. And this also has an unfinished basement. So if you intend to finish your basement, you should consider the extra cost that would be involved with that. We, however, are not doing any such thing. Without further ado, we will get into the costs of how much it was to renovate this 1942 built home and get it all up and ready from its old state, which you see in pictures here, and to its new state. Now, I will note that we are not technically 100% finished. Maybe I'm about $2,000 off on some of the finishes, but we'll get to that when we get there. So first things first is the demolition. Unfortunately, these houses don't gut themselves. It cost us $1,700 to gut the entire house. The initial quote was actually $1,200, however, so you should keep that in mind to gut everything. What we did was we marked everything in black X's and told them what we wanted to keep in Sharpie or whatever it is we could identify it with. And we hired a guy who basically brought in a local crew of just young kids he could pay off the street and just come and tear this house apart and get everything out of there. They hauled it all away. It included that in the cost, and it was great. They did a fantastic job. However, we did make some slight adjustments. We had to bring them back out there, and so that did cost us an extra $500. So just remember that $1,200 initial, $500 for this 1,080 square foot home. The next thing and cost that you should know is the permits. So permits will cost a little bit of a varying price. A lot of people tend to say this $300 to $500 a permit sort of pricing structure. You could almost say we paid about the $300 range per permit. For gas, electrical, demolition, which we kind of filed ourselves, and then the framing and every other permit that we needed, it costs us $1,305. So with that in mind, we got all of our permits all, in order, some of them from the contractors, but that is if we just kind of took it out, all their quotes, and put it together. That is how much it cost us. The next thing we did was drawings. We did architectural drawings of the property to make sure everyone was kind of on the same page with everything. That cost us $1,000 for the person to go in there and take an entire day to map out the entire location and show from a contractor's perspective exactly where the HVAC, the lights, and everything is going to go. That way we knew everyone knew exactly what they needed to do. The electrical was $6,000. This was to install recessed lighting throughout the house, all brand new wiring everywhere, new electric panel, new lights on the outside, hanging all the ceiling fans and fixtures, and he did include a lot of that in his cost. So just keep in mind, you can get a lot of that broken for you. Maybe the only thing I think we had to buy were like ceiling fans and a few pendant lights and some specialty items. But all the light switches and all the other stuff regarding the electricity in the house, that was all included in the $6,000 cost. The next thing we got to bring up is the HVAC. So all the ductwork, we did it all brand new. There was no ductwork in this house, so we just simply ran the ductwork and into both the first floor and the second floor. We didn't really have any ductwork in the basement. Like I said, it is unfinished, so we didn't really bother with that area too much. But for all of that and a new air conditioning unit and a new furnace cost us $6,000. We broke that up into 3 payments. 3 draws, I guess you can say. $2,000 for the initial ductwork runs, $2,000 once they were finished that, and then another $2,000 to bring in the furnace and the air conditioning unit once all the drywall and such was complete. Now for the plumbing, I have to kind of adjust this one a little bit for you. We paid $3,050 for brand new plumbing and brand new gas lines. We literally redid the gas in the entirety of the house and redid the plumbing of the entirety of the house with new PVC pipe, and then also installed the tub, water heater. It included the, almost everything. If it had anything to do with water, I mean, we're talking about sink fixtures, everything, then it was all included in that price. Now that is a bit lower than most people are going to reasonably be able to get for that price. You should be really looking more in the $5,000 to $6,000 range. We got a massive discount on this one. I can break down some of the price that was reasonable. The gas lines was actually installed differently from the actual person who did the plumbing. The gas lines was $750 to run the gas throughout the entire building, new gas lines. So that is something to note, but otherwise, yeah, all of our plumbing costs $3,050. Now, as far as the framing, this is something that kind of happens before and after all of the rough-in. You install the framing at first, but then once the ductwork gets in there, you need to frame around that. This cost us $6,270. This was also to fix some of the subfloors in the area, but also just really to reframe the entire house. We gutted it almost practically right down to nothing, and so we had to kind of rebuild the frame and structure of the rooms. So that is what it cost us. It is possible you can get this cost a little bit cheaper, but overall that is pretty much what you'd be looking at once again for a 1,080 square foot home. Now for the windows, we paid $2,173, and this was for 9 windows. So if you do the math based on that, it equates to about $241 a window. This is where I often say $250 a window. This is for both the cost of the window and also the installation of the window. This is a pretty standard price. You shouldn't really be paying any more than that. Now we also got a lead inspection for $275. For around this price, your lead inspector should just do a basic analysis and tell you what needs to be removed for you to be classified as lead-free. Lead-free property is definitely what you want to reach for. Now, when they come back to verify that it is lead-free, this is something that can be easily shown, and it is actually all free. They come back, and for that $275 price, they do everything, right from the initial and then the final inspection to say, yes, you are lead-free. Now, the insulation in the property, we actually spent $1,200. This is from a company who laid down normal type of insulation. It's not the spray foam type. They laid it all in the ceilings of all of the property and also the exterior walls where there was plumbing, most specifically in the kitchen area. So they do this on basically a square footage type of area. Unfortunately, I can't tell you exactly how much square footage they occupied. It is in the quote, unfortunately, but I just forgot it at the moment. But yeah, about 1,200, so you can expect that for your property when you need to insulate it as well. And then finally, we did $500 for a trash haul of all these materials, and we had to get it out of there. And then the finishings. The finishings is the flooring, it is all of the painting, it is all the drywall, the mudding, everything involved with that. There we have so far spent $9,833. That does include the material costs, which generally were about $3,000, I'd say, is for all the materials. So we're looking at probably another $2,000 maybe in labor. Probably. We have a few things we have to do in the yard and such. So this is where I said we're not completely finished, but the house is mostly done. This also includes the installation of the cabinets, and the cabinets themselves were $1,300, I believe, and came from a local store in the area. They delivered all the materials. Same with Home Depot. They delivered all the materials to us, so we didn't really have to worry about any of that. But we're right now sitting at $9,833 for this. And that is all for the cost of this renovation. So maybe that should give you a general idea of what you should be paying. Keep in mind, costs will vary. We didn't have to rip out like lead door frames, for example. We just included that all in the demolition of the walls. We didn't have to do any type of precision work, which could increase the cost. We didn't have to do any fancy doors or anything a little bit abnormal. This is just pretty much a basic renovation, but I think following those guidelines and the numbers I just gave in this video, you should be able to know about what you should be renovating in this home. So let me know if you want more cost breakdowns of like this. I'll go ahead and give you the cost breakdowns of my friends, where we all feel like if we got a fair prices on everything, we can share them with you, and I think we can get you some varying scales, maybe some flips, larger homes, some higher quality renovations, maybe even some lower end renovations. Maybe you're on a $20,000 budget and you need to know what that costs. So like and subscribe to the channel. Let me know if you love content like this, and I will absolutely produce more. Talk to you soon.